blessed to have this opportunity to share how my cancer journey has changed my life for the better. It also gives me an opportunity to thank you, all of you, for being part of this event. But most importantly, I'm just grateful to be alive. So who am I? My name is Catherine. I was born in Southern California, and I moved here to Calaveras County during my freshman year of high school. I am a graduate of Red Heart High School. I moved to Calaveras County in 1992, and after graduating from CSU Monterey Bay, I returned here to Calaveras County after my son was born in 2002. So number one, I am a mother. I have a 9-year-old son named Jonah, and that aspect alone has significantly shaped my struggle with cancer. Being a mother forces me to get up on days that I don't think I can. It requires me to summon energy when I'm overcome by fatigue. I cannot just give up or give in. Please? In fact, quite the opposite is the case. There is a chance that our time together here on earth will be shorter than we both would like. So I feel a huge desire to fill each day with love and with memorable experiences. We're compelled to not waste a single moment of a single day. In addition, I've had to create ways to communicate my overwhelming medical problems to a child while being both honest and also protective. My son knows every aspect of this disease. At times I might not tell him about a development, but only until we had a definitive answer and a plan. But I've always chosen to be truthful and to attempt to equip him with some strong coping skills. In response, he's become incredibly compassionate to the suffering of others and has developed an amazing set of skills as a caretaker. And I rejoice in the man that he will be someday and the lucky woman who finds him. Number two, I'm a Christian. Well, I'm not just a Christian, I am madly in love with Jesus Christ. I'm completely passionate about the presence of God in my life. I acknowledge that God has complete control over this situation. This cancer was no mistake. He has a plan for me, which is not to harm me, but in fact to prosper me. Number three, I'm a teacher. I have been for 14 years. I own and operate Little Angels Preschool, which is a Christian child care center in Angels Camp. So my young students have seen me through every aspect of this disease. They've seen me be absent from school for even a month at a time, but they've also seen me functioning at full capacity despite knowing that I have what is perhaps the most dreaded sickness. Number four, I am a survivor. I was first diagnosed with melanoma, which is the deadliest form of skin cancer, 6 years ago. I had a mole on my back that was changing. It was excised along with 9 centimeters of skin and a dozen lymph nodes. And I remember coming to the relay that year for the first time and walking the survivor lap. And a nice lady asked me what kind of cancer I had, and I said skin cancer, and she said, well, I guess that counts. And so I felt like a party crasher. I also had a huge desire to spread some awareness about melanoma. It is perhaps one of the most misunderstood and underestimated forms of cancer, even though last year there was 120,000 new cases diagnosed. And 1 American dies of melanoma every hour. So during my short battle in 2006, all the lymph nodes came back cancer-free, which was the only way to see if the cancer had reached my lymph system. So we assumed it had not. And for 5 years, we had no reason to think otherwise. But in January last year, 2011, I was at work one Saturday and I was going up a ladder, and I felt really dizzy. It was like I stood up too fast. And so I tried to come down the ladder and realized I had no control over my legs, and I fell to the floor. And I lay there trying to get my phone out of my pocket to call 911. And I was just trapped in a body that did not work. It took several tries to call for help, and when I did reach someone, they couldn't understand me. Someone eventually found me and got me to a hospital where I was misdiagnosed. I was sent home hours later with a diagnosis of vertigo. So after a couple days of being unable to speak or to walk, I returned to the doctor for an MRI, and we discovered that I had suffered a stroke. A blood clot had traveled to my cerebellum, and I was 36 years old. So I spent a couple months having my heart and my brain and my blood tested and trying to figure out why and how this blood clot made it through the filter in my heart and to my brain. The truth is, doctors still don't know, but I know it to be a miracle, because during the course of all these exams, we discovered not only that I had another spot of melanoma, but that it was rampantly spreading. It had reached my lungs and adrenal glands and many other places. I was classified as stage 4 with an extremely fast and aggressive mitotic rate. Stage 4 melanoma has a horrible prognosis. It's incurable. 95% of patients are dead within 5 years. But every form of cancer has some rate of survival. So my first question was, how do I get in the other 5%? The next question, of course, was what's next? My oncologist's first opinion was that it was too widely spread to operate. The surgery involved removing multiple organs, cutting into organs, and it would be difficult to endure. And regardless, it wouldn't be enough. The microscopic cancer cells, which are a billionth the size of a healthy cell, were loose in my body and would need to be attacked with chemo. But after we met, my oncologist changed his mind, and he decided that my overall health and my strength that I received from Jesus Christ would carry me through a difficult surgery, and at least then I'd be starting treatment theoretically with a clean slate. So last March, we removed 9 more centimeters of skin, 2 sections of my left lung, my entire right adrenal gland, and scraped out my left adrenal gland. After surviving and recovering for about a month, I checked into the ICU at Stanford for a month-long attempt at a high-dose chemotherapy. The weeks I spent there were probably the worst weeks of my life. The pain was excruciating. Perhaps being separated from my son was the worst, because they wouldn't allow him to visit me. And to top it off, after waiting another month, it hadn't worked at all. The cancer was back in my lungs, spread throughout my chest cavity, and was all the way down to my legs. So now the waiting would really begin, because I got to experience drug trials. There was a treatment that was supposedly nearing FDA approval. It was having 70% response. And there were even newer trials that were combining that drug with one another that was having a 90% response. It took more than 3 months to get into a trial, all along getting no treatment at all. And on the day that I showed up, do all my final testing, and to start the trial, we discovered the melanoma had spread to my brain, and they kicked me out of the trial before it had even begun. Luckily, the FDA did approve the treatment on its own, so although it was inferior to what I was hoping for, I started on it alone in September. It involves taking 4 toxic pills twice a day for as long as it will work. But praise God, we found out in October that my tumors were in fact melting away. The medical community tells me that patients will only get this response for a few months, and then your body figures it out. So what then? Essentially, there's nothing. We need more money for research, which leads me back to why I'm so grateful to be here this morning. First, huge fan of the American Cancer Society. Throughout my struggle, I've received gas cards and hotel discounts. I've been offered makeup clinics to adjust to the changing condition of my skin, counseling, free wigs, massage, yoga, writing classes, and much more. Fighting cancer is so hard in so many ways, so to have an organization kind of smoothing over the rough edges is priceless. And perhaps more important is the research that they fund. I pray continually for the day when I'm told they have discovered a cure for melanoma. Second, I feel blessed to have the opportunity to share how my cancer journey has changed my life diagnosed, I considered, with what plan will I rise each morning? Am I going to be depressed? Am I going to make the best of it? Just try to get through it? I decided these ideas were not good enough. Not good enough for me and not good enough for my son. So we chose to see my cancer for what it really is, which is a gift. My son and I have found a way to make this the best thing that ever happened to us. How can we possibly do that? Which leads me to the next reason I'm happy to be here. I'm just thrilled to be alive. My son and I live each moment like it is our last. We play hard and we pray hard. And each day we realize and acknowledge how grateful we are for our time together. And we try to pass on to others this perspective that we've gained. Because the fact is, everyone's days are numbered. And we need to live like we are aware of that fact. And most importantly, we make sure we give God all the glory for how he's working in our lives. So please allow me to thank each of you for your participation in this event. The money that you've raised will save lives, and it will alleviate stress in the lives of survivors like me. I appreciate the American Cancer Society and all the people who helped coordinate this event. I'm honored to speak to and for the survivors here today. I fight to survive every minute of every day, and I beg you to continue to do the same. I remember a day last fall when I didn't think I had the fortitude to get out of bed, and my parents encouraged me to take a walk around my neighborhood with them. About 5 houses away, which was much further than I thought I could go, I realized this is what I'm fighting for. Why bother with the pills? Why bother with the chemo and the doctor's appointments if I'm going to let cancer stop me from living each day? I have tons of people offer to help me all the time, take my son to school or take him to his baseball games when they see me struggling, which I so appreciate, but in all honesty, I'm thinking, no way. This is what I'm fighting for. So, survivors, cancer takes a nut, don't you think? So keep smiling, keep believing, keep inspiring, but most of all, keep living. Thank you.
I want